I want you to picture something right now. Imagine a stranger, someone smart, well-educated, genuinely trying to do their job, sits down with a summary of your marriage, your finances, and if you have kids, your kids' lives. They have about 45 minutes, let's say, in a hearing to understand it, and then they make decisions that will govern your family for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, right? Forever, really. Um, that's essentially a judge. That's essentially the function of a court. Now, they have longer than 45 minutes because they can take the matter under advisement and they have law clerks and us, et cetera, et cetera. But for distilling it down to its essence, that's the process. In this video, I'm going to explain the actual human difference, why it matters for you between court on one hand and mediation on the other. Not the legal definitions, not giving you legal advice, just the lived experience difference, because that's what you'll actually experience is the lived difference between these two things, and that's what actually matters when you're trying to decide which path do I take. So let's paint two pictures, one a court and one a mediation. Here are the two pictures. Court, picture one, you and your spouse each separately hire an attorney. Every communication between the two of you now goes through an attorney. Every communication gets billed. The attorneys may file motions. Again, I don't know what they're actually going to do. This is hypothetical. The other attorney responds. There might be hearings. There might be discovery, which is a formal name for a process where you demand and exchange documents and information where, of course, there's consequences for not doing the right thing. There may be depositions. There will be waiting, right? The court has calendars, and those calendars have other matters, and often they're backed up. And this could go on for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. And at the end, if the parties don't agree, a judge will decide at a hearing or a trial, right? Those are sort of the two options. Again, this isn't specific legal advice to you and your jurisdiction and your personality. It's just trying to paint a picture. And that decision, the judge often, reads the file, hears arguments from lawyers who are very smart and well-educated and well-intentioned, and makes a decision based on what the law permits. And the judge isn't a child expert, isn't a you expert, isn't your spouse expert. They have really good intentions, and they're trying to do the best they can with the very limited resources they have, and often very limited specific training. And then you and your spouse walk out of there as, party A versus party B as adversaries. And you've been adversaries for 18 months, if that's how long it went on, inside a system which produces someone gets their motion granted, and someone gets the motion denied, right? So it's very much, it can feel like a winner and a loser. And now you face the task post-court of trying to co-parent effectively with this person. Option two on the other end of the spectrum is mediation. Okay, let's take a exaggerated exhale. Central nervous system relax. You and your spouse sit down, let's say virtually, which is what we do at Flannel People Mediation. Let's say you're on your couch with a blanket and a hot chocolate, and your slippers and wool socks and a hoodie and a skilled facilitator. The facilitator's job, the mediator's job, isn't to decide anything. It's to make a container, to hold the space, to make sure you guys can hear each other, to guide a conversation, to steer a conversation so that there's structure. And often this is the very thing that people need. The thing that differentiates them from just arguing at the kitchen table, not hearing each other, talking past each other. Let's have a moment where someone else is with us, we're our best selves. They're enforcing pauses and structure, and we can actually hear each other. Because we can hear each other and there's an agenda, we can get things done, right? You guys as the parties build the agreement. You guys as the parties make the decision. Now, here's the piece of research that I really find fascinating, which is that agreements in mediation have measurably higher compliance rather than court orders. And this means that people actually follow the agreements that they make in mediation more so than court orders. And the reason is intuitive, right? It's that when you build the agreement yourself, you own it. You have buy-in. And when you have buy-in, you follow it. And when a judge imposes it on you, even maybe a little bit, there's resentment. And resentment is expensive, especially when kids are involved, because it falls apart and it builds in more conflict and sort of litigated conflict between parents is often an ACE, an adverse childhood experience for kids. It's no bueno for kids, okay? One more thing. In contrast to mediation, court is a public record. So almost everything, unless you have it sealed, is that you file in your divorce case in most jurisdictions. Again, this isn't legal advice, not specifically for any specific person in jurisdiction, I don't know, but just as a general principle, it's accessible to anyone who goes looking. Whereas mediation, what you say in mediation, what we talk about, it's entirely confidential by a contractual agreement at the very beginning. So very much so what happens in mediation stays in mediation, which allows you to be more you, more comfortable, more vulnerable. So guys, to wrap this up, the difference between court and mediation is not simply procedural, though there is process difference. It's philosophical. The courtroom fundamentally says we'll have somebody else decide. Mediation fundamentally says you guys are the decision makers. We'll give you this. You make this decision. I'll provide the structure to help get us there. And if you have kids, the choice between these two philosophies is one of the most consequential decisions you'll make in the process. Free consultation at flannelpeoplemediation.com if this is interesting to you. Let's talk about you, your situation. My name's Ryan. I'm a mediator. I'm happy to help. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe if you got value from this. Bye.